morning. In the last two sessions, we were discussing on the crystallography. Today, let me start the new topic, a very small topic for the sixth semester students. It is specific heat of solids. You know that what is meant by specific heat in your previous classes. In the first UC itself, you have studied about the specific heat of solids and specific heat of solid, specific heat of materials like solid, liquid, gas, okay, like this. In our class, we have to discuss on the specific heat of solids. Heat capacity. First of all, let us understand what is meant by heat capacity of the substance. Heat capacity means the heat required to rise the temperature of a substance by 1 degree Celsius. So, it is known that the quantity of heat required to rise the temperature of a substance by 1 degree Kelvin is what is called as a heat capacity. Heat capacity can also be called as a thermal capacity. Thermal capacity is equal to mass of the substance into specific heat of the material, and it is given as m into C, where m is mass of the substance and C is the specific heat of the material. Then what is meant by specific heat? Specific heat means specifically what is the amount of substance we have taken. That therefore it is called as specific heat. The heat required, energy required to raise the temperature of 1 kg of the subsolid, 1 kg of the solid by 1 degree Kelvin is called specific heat of solid. In case of gases, we say that 1 molar heat capacity, we call it as 1 molar heat capacity. Okay, 1 mole of the substance, 1 mole of the gas is taken. 1 mole of that is amount of energy, heat energy required to rise the temperature of 1 mole of a substance, 1 mole of a gas is called as the molar heat capacity, specific heat of the capacity. In the gaseous region, we have two types, that is Cp and Cv, that is specific heat at constant volume and specific heat at constant pressure. But in case of solids, we have only one specific heat. Okay, so specific heat means the definition is very clear. The amount of heat required to rise the temperature of 1 kg of the solid by 1 degree Kelvin. Okay, so the quantity of heat Q which is required to rise the temperature of a solid is proportional to the mass of the solid and increase in the temperature. That is, Q is the amount of heat required, is proportional to mass of the solid and rise in the temperature. Okay, increase in the temperature. So Q is equal to C into M into delta theta. Where if m is equal to 1 kg, delta theta is 1 degree Kelvin, then Q is equal to C. That is, what is the unit for the specific heat? It is joules per kg per degree Kelvin. This is in SI unit. SI unit. In case of CGS units, we have calories per gram per degree Celsius. Calories per gram per degree Celsius. Okay, here mass has to be taken in grams and temperature in 1 degree Celsius. Like this, that's all the difference. So I think it is very clear to you what is meant by heat capacity, what is meant by molar heat capacity, what is meant by specific heat of the solid. Okay, specific heat of the solid is nothing but amount of heat required to rise the temperature of 1 kg of the solid through 1 degree Kelvin. Okay. Now, let us come to the Dulong and Petit's law. This is very important for 2 marks. This is the 2 marks. State and explain Dulong-Petit's law. So, the heat capacity of all monatomic solids, you must be very careful. The heat capacity of all monatomic solids in room temperature range is same equal to 3R, or 25 joules per kg per degree Kelvin, or 6 calories per mole per degree Celsius. So, what is Dulong-Petit's law state? State new Dulong-Petit's law. This is a question may be arrived in the examination, maybe appear in the examination. Okay, state and explain Dulong-Petit's law. So first you have to write the statement. The heat capacity of all monatomic solids in room temperature range is same and is equal to 3R. I think it is enough. If you want to write further, you can write 25 joules per kg per Kelvin or 6 calories per mole per degree Celsius. So this graph shows shows the graph for molar heat capacity for the specific heat capacity for the diamond, silicon, aluminum, lead. different materials are taken. Okay, so according to your Dulong-Petit's law, all the heat capacity of all monatomic substance are going to be equal to the same. Maximum heat capacity is going to be nearly equal to 3R. You can take the lead, you take aluminium, all are nearing this state. That is 6 calories are the 3R level. Is it now? So this is the statement of the Dulong-Petit's law. So from the law of equipartition energy, the average energy for a system of free particles is half kBT per degree of freedom. Extending this result to the lattice point interacting with the harmonic forces obeying Hooke's law, we get the value of half kBT per degree of freedom, each for potential energy and kinetic energy, because we have two types of energies, kinetic energy as well as the potential energy. That means average total energy of lattice point is kBT. So half plus half, it is going to be kB. Okay, half kBT plus half kBT is going to be equal to kBT. This is for kinetic potential energy, this is for kinetic energy, and total energy is going to be kBT, right, per degree freedom. For 1 gram molecule of a solid, there are Na number of atoms, each having 3 degrees of freedom, that is along the 3 Cartesian coordinate system. Therefore, the total energy of the system E is equal to 3 into Na kBT. 3 is along the 3 mutually perpendicular direction, Na is number of atoms, and kBT is the total energy of each atom. So total energy of the atoms in 3 perpendicular directions, it is going to be kBT. Heat capacity Cv is equal to delta V by delta T at constant V. Therefore, you have to differentiate this equation, d by dt of del by del T of 3 Na kBT at V. So, if you take dt by dt is going to be 1, therefore 3 Na kBT, 3 into this Na kBT is equal to R. Na kB is equal to R, is equal to universal gas constant. Okay, so 3 into R value is 8.314, that is equal to 24.942, that is approximately equal to 25 joules per kg per Kelvin, where R is a universal gas constant. Like this, that value, that is Dulong-Petit's, as stated by the Dulong-Petit's law, the value is 25 kBT. We have shown how we are going to arrive the 25 kBT, 25 joules per kg per Kelvin. So Dulong-Petit's law here fails for light elements like boron, beryllium, and carbon. The value of Cv for these elements are going to be 14, 16, and 6.1. That is, Cv value for the beryllium is boron for 14, beryllium is 16, and carbon it is 6.1 respectively at room temperature. But what is the statement? It is around 25 joules per kg per Kelvin is the statement of the Dulong-Petit's law. But when I consider the lighter elements like the boron, beryllium, and carbon, this is not exactly the same, but its value is very, very less. Okay, this is one drawback of the Dulong-Petit's law. And second one is, at lower temperature, Cv decreases rapidly and approaches 0 as T tends to 0. So Cv becomes 0, approaches 0 as temperature tends to 0. This low temperature raised insulators follow Cv proportional to T cube. Okay, Cv proportional to T cube, and metals follow the law Cv proportional to T. If metals become superconductor, the fall of Cv is faster than T. So there is a discrepancy in the statement of the Dulong-Petit's law. Okay, only some special cases it is possible, but in majority of the classes, majority of the materials, this law fails. That means it needs some correction. So this correction was done by first of all from the Einstein the variation of heat capacity cannot be explained on the basis of the classical theory of heat. The first attempt to explain variation of specific heat capacity with temperature was made by Einstein in 1907 on the basis of quantum theory of light, or quantum theory of radiation. Now, this theory has also some discrepancy, and later on, this theory was modified by the Debye. Okay, like this, there are so many stages in getting the appropriate theory regarding the any particular concept. Now let us come to the Einstein theory. How we get the correction? How Einstein made correction to the Dulong-Petit's law? So according to quantum theory, heat is radiated in the form of discrete packets of energy called photon. This is very known value, very well known statement. Okay, the heat is radiated in the form of discrete packets of energy called photons. Light is emitted from a source of light in the form of photons. Okay, photon is nothing but a packet of energy. Totally, the energy is emitted. Energy is emitted not in a continuous way, but it is in the discrete packets of energy, and this packet of energy is what is called as photon. The energy of photon is equal to h nu. Okay, you know this energy of photon is nothing but h nu, where h is a Planck's constant. Okay, and nu is the frequency of the radiation. So this is the theory. Okay, Planck's quantum theory. So this theory was first proposed by the Planck. Okay. Now Einstein, based on this, Planck's quantum theory, try to explain the specific heat of solids. Okay, try to explain the specific heat of solids, and he made certain attempt to correct the Dulong-Petit's law statement, where the discrepancies are available, discrepancies are observed in some of the materials. He tried to solve the problem. While solving the problem based on this theory, he has made certain assumptions. He has made certain assumptions. What are the assumptions that Einstein has made in solving the problem of Dulong-Petit's law? So first of all, we assume that every solid is composed of atoms which are at rest at 0 degrees Celsius. So all solids are made up of atoms and molecules, and all these atoms are at rest at a 0 degrees Celsius or 0 degree Kelvin. So thermal energy is 0 at 0 Kelvin. Naturally, when the atoms in the solid are at rest, means thermal energy becomes 0, which is at 0 degree Kelvin. When a solid is heated, now what happens when the solid is heated? The atoms vibrate simple harmonically about their mean position. All atoms vibrate with the same frequency. So suppose for a solid which is at 0 degree Celsius, now the heat is given. What happens? Atoms absorb the heat and they begin to vibrate simple harmonically along the mean positions. So all atoms, he assumed that all atoms vibrate with the same frequency. All atoms in the solid vibrate with the same frequency. So each atom has a 3 degrees of freedom. Okay, each atom is having a 3 degrees of freedom along 3 mutually perpendicular axes. So according to quantum theory of radiation, mean energy per degree of freedom is E is equal to h nu by e to the power of h nu minus 1. Okay, E is equal to h nu by e to the power of h nu minus 1, where K is Boltzmann constant and T is the temperature of the solid. And this equation you will get in the radiation chapter. Okay, this you have already studied in radiation chapter in the first BSc class itself. Okay, so therefore the energy of each atom is going to be, since it has a 3 mutually perpendicular direction, the atom has 3 degrees of freedom. Therefore we have 3 into h nu by e to the power of h nu minus of 1. So internal energy of the solid containing n atoms is, internal energy is U is equal to n into n is number of atoms into 3, that is 3 mutually perpendicular direction. Energy E of each atom is h nu by e to the power of h nu minus h nu by kt minus of 1. This is the total internal energy. Internal energy is energy of the atom in 3 mutually perpendicular directions multiplied by number of atoms. Okay, n represents total number of atoms in 3 mutually perpendicular direction, and this is energy of each atom. Okay, this total thing is going to be total internal energy of the solid containing n atoms. Now let us consider what is atomic heat capacity of the solid at constant volume. We know that Cv, it is called as Cv. Cv is equal to du by dt. du by dt. Okay, rate of change of internal energy is what is called as the specific heat of solids. So which is equal to 3n into k, 3n into k into h nu by kt whole square. Differentiate this one. Okay, into e to the power of h nu by kt by e to the power of h nu minus h nu by kt minus of 1 whole square. Okay, so this is the differentiation. So now Cv is equal to 3nk. 3nk means 3r, and this is h nu by k is taken as theta e. H nu by k is substituted as theta e, that is Einstein's temperature by T, theta e by T whole square into e to the power of h nu by kt by e to the power of h nu by kt minus of 1 whole square. This is the specific heat, where R is universal gas constant and theta e is equal to h nu by kt, h nu by k, T is not here, h nu by k only. Okay, so this is Einstein's equation for the atomic heat capacity of the solid. So this is the Einstein's equation. So according to the equation, T tends to 0, Cv tends to 0. The atomic heat capacity decreases with decrease of temperature, and it approaches 3R at higher temperature. These two inferences are in agreement with the experimental results. So now, as T tends to 0, as T approaches 0, Cv approaches 0, so the heat capacity decreases with decrease of temperature, and it approaches 3R at higher temperature. As we go higher temperature, it approaches 3R, as it is given in the case of Dulong-Petit's law. It is maximum temperature, it approaches at higher temperature, it approaches 3R. Okay, 3R. These two inferences are in agreement with the experimental results. However, it is observed that atomic heat capacity at low temperature decreases more rapidly than predicted by Einstein. This disagreement is due to the assumption of that all atoms of a solid vibrate with the same frequency, and this discrepancy later corrected by Debye. This discrepancy later corrected by Debye. So this is the first session of the specific heat of solid. In the next session, we are going to derive the main equation, which is very important derivation for the point of examination. But in this session, you must be very careful, and you must read this particular topic, that is Dulong-Petit's law, 2 marks question. Okay, 2 mark question is very important. What is meant by state and explain? State and explain Dulong-Petit's law. Dulong-Petit's law. Okay, this is very important thing. And Einstein's assumptions of Einstein's theory. These assumptions of Einstein's theory are important for the point of examination. Okay, I will stop at this point and I will proceed in the next session, and then in the next session I will take up the derivation, main derivation in 1-for-1 session. Okay, thank you very much.